in the context of EU Erasmus project, Education for Technological Literacy and Inclusion. And I have here Anni Leino, one of our graduates from the Estonian Academy of Music and Theatre Culture Management Program. And Anni, you did your master thesis on streaming. Do you like to present your master thesis and yourself at the beginning?
Yeah. So hi, my name is Anni Leino. I did my master's degree I graduated last spring from Tallinn, and I did my master's degree on the topic of unveiling motivations and unlocking opportunities, leveraging online showcases for performing arts promotion. So I've been working years in performing arts, organizing different kind of showcase events, which are so-called B2B events in performing arts. So bringing together the festival directors, theater directors, as well as the artists whose work we are promoting. So during the pandemic, I had the honor of doing these events as well in Helsinki. And of course, we had an urgent need to find new ways to bring these people together in our events. So we did actually two showcase events as an so-called hybrid events, so combining both online and on-site features.
Could you tell us who is we?
Yeah. So I'm not anymore working there, but I used to work in Dancing for Finland still last spring. And we did Ice Hot Nordic Dance Platform, which is presenting Nordic contemporary dance, and Performing Hell Showcase, which is promoting the Finnish performing arts for international audiences.
Okay, so where do you work nowadays then?
Nowadays I work in Zodiac Center for New Dance, so not so far away, still in the field of dance.
Okay, maybe we now go into a bit of detail about streaming in the context of arts and cultural events. So when would you recommend that we use streaming?
I would say first thing is to be a bit critical towards it. I mean, it is a good way to broaden your audience. I would say broaden your audience, but to first start from the content. I mean, it's not for every event, it's not for every purpose. Sometimes it can break also what happens on site. So I would start from the content and ask for myself that, is this really needed?
Can you give us an example when a streaming is a good choice?
For example, from my own experience from these showcase events, I think because the scope is international, we are promoting for international audiences. And of course, we had the difficulty to bring those people in Helsinki, which would have normally done. But to make it more flexible for the attendance to pick, there doesn't have to be a pandemic to make it more flexible. It can be a life situation. It can be a matter of resources as well to take part on site. So, yeah.
And what would be the kind of content that streaming is disturbing or doesn't kind of fit at all?
If there's if you wish that the participants would share something really personal, for example, then I think doing hybrid events, for example, can disturb also the willingness to share on site personal views. But I think people get also more used to that, and maybe the key is to be open with the thing that if you're streaming or if you're recording, people should know that.
Yes, not to have unpleasant surprises.
Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly.
How about if we are kind of recording our discussion? It's not the live stream. When do you think this kind of content is actually better than the live streaming? Actually,
that was also one of my kind of results from my thesis, was that live streaming is not necessarily all the time. I mean, there are certain, if you launch something, if you launch a program, if you launch a product or something that you want to share the information for people exactly at the same time, but most of the things, for example, performances, the added value on if the person who is taking part in the event remotely, does she or he need to have the information at the same time as it's happening, or could it be actually better to just watch it from the recording? So I think it's a matter of how much communication you want to include in this event, how much is needed from for example, in this format. I mean, I guess we are not expecting anyone to ask from anything from us.
Not allowed now.
Exactly.
Yes.
But if we would like to have people involved in the conversation, then having this live for the audience would be a choice to make.
You already mentioned this kind of hybrid events. What would be the kind of like the challenges, and on the other hand, the benefits on those kind of cases? Quite common, I think, nowadays to have.
It is, and it's also one of the results from the work that I think it's very much going to be the future and present of professional events in any sector, I would say. But still, and this is where we started, was kind of the misunderstanding of, we thought that it would be easier to do online events, and this is, I think it's not at all true. I mean, it requires resources, if not money, then human resources. Monitoring the live streaming same time when doing the on-site event, there are like, the audience multiplies itself. Also, I think what we're going to see in the future is that we are more and more capable of doing online events so that they are more captivating and more tying people together, kind of not just replicating what is happening live, but really kind of tailor-made events for the online environment.
Can you give us an example? What would be captivating, or what would be something that we can't do live, but we can do online?
Well, I think, for example, education is really a good example on something that content can be shared and easily delivered and watched in people's own schedule. I mean, I think there's a lot to learn from that, and that's probably happening now. Yeah, but still to be kind of critical when the meeting, like face-to-face meeting, is still important. And I think the combination is really the thing that we are going to use more and more in the future. What was your question?
What would be the kind of like added element that would create this captivation in online context?
I think where we started was to just replicate what is happening on site, kind of, and it shows from the results of my thesis as well that actually the people taking part remotely are not so interested in what is happening on site if they can't participate themselves. So it's like, not if you do a music festival on site, the experience of taking part is different than if the person takes part online from their sofa. So kind of thinking how the whole structure of the festival could serve the participant better in this online format. So, for example, time length is one really practical thing of considering while you do the online event. People won't stay 3 days in your festival online.
How about then, you already mentioned this kind of like social connection. How can do you even try to build it online, or how could you build it?
Yeah, well,
let's keep like festival event context.
Actually, the social level element is the crucial one. That's what disappears when you go online, and that's also a big motivation for many people take part in any kind of events. What I found out during my thesis process is that the trust building between people, and I think this is also how much people are willing to give from themselves while participating, is about trust. So kind of, and this is from the professional events, kind of where you bring people to network or create connections. One of the results was that if people meet at the first time online, they can form so-called weak connections, which can be beneficial, like in a long run, but still kind of the trust building, it requires face-to-face time. So in an international, collaboration project that is just about to start, I would still meet face-to-face, even though the online meetings would later on be really
just to have the human connection.
Exactly, and get to know and so forth. Also, misunderstandings are easily happening online if you don't know how to read the person first.
How about then, for example, during the pandemic, there were like these concerts online, and then the participants could participate in a very different manner than on site because they could chat with the performers or even talk. But how would you see this? Is this kind of like something that people wish to do, or?
I think this is also about how to orchestrate the whole event. I think we all have been in these events that nobody actually takes part, even though they are encouraged to ask questions or comment, and they are sort of there, but they are not present, and then you're panicking what to do and why they're not saying anything. But yeah, I know you mean in an artistic kind of context, or
even like this panel discussion that people are watching you and maybe wanting to ask something, or.
Well, I have one example, it's really from my own life, from the pandemic years, which I think worked really well, was that one of my favorite artists had like Instagram live session where, because we didn't have opportunity to go to gigs or concerts, he was in his living room playing the music, and I could like see other people taking part and being present and commenting on that concert. And that was actually something that I think somehow brought the artist closer to me than taking part in a concert on sites in real life. But I don't know, there's no like one kind of a way to build I would say, as bigger the event is, it's probably more unlike that people are willing to, go. Also, sometimes it can be a problem that you have a chat and you don't have anyone to monitor that during the event. That has also happened. That then there's something totally else happening in the chat that should be kind of also.
Yeah, it should be connected.
Yeah,
that was
this is
actually one of my things. But do you need a censorship? That
not maybe censorship, but if you do an event which is hybrid, and for example, you're in a studio and you are kind of talking, and you're the talking head of the whole event, you have to have another person taking care of the chat. And so that means 2 producers, or I don't know, 3 producers, even if there's somebody taking care of the like that the broadcasting is working well and so on. So first attempts were really, I tried to do everything by myself, but even for a Zoom meeting or Zoom event, I would use nowadays a colleague or a friend or whoever who could help me with the monitoring to chat.
And do you think that's something a bit different, but us as culture manager educators should start taking into consideration these different roles in?
I think yes, but maybe I think in education quite much can be also recorded and not. I think it's sometimes it's heavy to watch live stream that is recorded later, rather than a person recording a lecture and then edit that properly, and then somebody, like, it's really heavy to see these like live streamed recordings or recordings from the live stream. But yeah, I think we need new tools and we need new skills to build up the online events. I think, and this, also from my thesis research, I started to think that when I was doing my questionnaire, I kind of realized at some point that people have this like awful experience from the pandemic. So that kind of affects the attitude as well. So they can't really dream of, what would be their dream online event or dream recording or whatsoever.
Because it was posted on them.
Yeah, exactly. So we as producers, managers, teachers, who else, we need to kind of figure out how to make better content.
Better, and more adapted to the online environment, maybe not just like you've been saying that it might be like a wrong way of just repeating whatever is happening here.
It's a challenge
on site. Yes. But then you talked about this 3-day event or even a 1-day event, that it might be hard for people to participate online through streaming. How would you then manage the people's time or expectations and the breaks? I mean, in normal event, you would go for a coffee, but how you then get the people to come back when you're not yelling there that come back?
Yeah. I would ask myself first, let's say that I have the on-site event as well going on. And for us, it was all the time that was kind of the main thing. And then parts of it was available online. So I would think you have to kind of construct that for totally different audience. So I would think which parts of the program are suitable online. Where I come from, it's about performances. So of course we were really sensitive also that if we didn't put everything online, because not all that happened on stage, we were still selling the stage work. So not everything works online. So there's no idea to put a performance in online format if it's not suitable for that, if it's not transferred. And what about these breaks? I think people make their own decisions anyway. So they can be present, but not really present, or then they can just disappear.
Yes.
And what is really common is that they sign up, but they never show up in online. So the commitment on these events it's different.
Yeah. I'll maybe continue a little bit about this, like some performances are not fit for for online. How do you know which ones to stream and which ones to skip?
Well, it's about the audience. Who are you gonna reach? Like if it's who do you want to reach and what's the goal of the whole thing? And sometimes it can be also useful for yourself to record certain events, even though they wouldn't be like shared or streamed or whatever. I don't know. How do you know? It depends really the content.
And do you also ask the artist?
Yeah.
Or is it like a producer decision, or how does it work in practice?
Well, in the case of showcase events where we had like full-length performances in a program and these project pitch, short pitches by the artist and the short demo performances, I think we didn't actually live stream any of the performances because
like the full performances.
Because that would require more artistic approach also to how to make maybe more cameras and everything to kind of fit that to another format. But then what comes to the short demo performances and pitch program went perfectly online. So I think we didn't really need to negotiate during that time with the artist, because it's for them as well. We could get more audience, and we could also actually use some of the content later on. I mean, you have presented your work in 5 minutes, so we have a video, so you can actually use the video later on in other contexts just to share that, hey.
Yeah, like introductory.
Yeah, exactly. To present yourself somewhere else. So, yeah.
So in fact, you would maybe recommend that you not only online streaming, but also recording. And then thinking like what to keep and what not to keep.
Also use the professionals. I mean, even though we are not the professionals in filming or anything, we are actually quite good, and people are quite good in reading. We watch so much videos, and we watch so many kind of social media platforms. We follow up, so people know what is good quality, and really the kind of attention span is really short. So if it's bad quality, the content is the second thing.
Yeah. people get bored, or
they
it's
won't
so
watch
easy
it.
to skip.
Yeah, but if you can put some resources, money, people, do it great. I mean, then that content can serve you later as well.
Yeah. So maybe rather than doing everything yourself and just having the presence, make more selective choices.
Yeah.
And then pick where you actually put the resources on.
Exactly, and that's actually related. You can also, I mean, you get more data out of for example, using YouTube or Vimeo or whatever platform. You can actually get data, quite much free data from the participants and who actually watched the video and how long they watched and what worked and so on. So that's also a tool for developing those.
Learning
further.
by doing in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're now coming to the time span of the listener. I think we would talk for hours, but maybe the listeners might not want to hear us for too long a time, because what we have learned that the time span of concentration on online is rather short.
But if it's part of your studies that you have to do, then I guess it's another thing.
Yeah, then you don't have always the choice.
Yeah, exactly. But
how would you like to conclude our discussion? Like what would the main core message, your little pitch?
Yeah, and I've been talking about being critical, but I would still say also that be kind of sensitive and be open for kind of give yourself a chance to learn. It's really watching others' events, taking part in online events. That's actually the first step to kind of recognize what works and what doesn't. And that's how you start learning. And then making notes for yourself and trying not to make the same mistakes as other people do. But learn from those. So I would say that really try out. And it's not an end of the world if the streaming cuts or if it doesn't work, or if sometimes the technology can be quite intimidating. So just try out. I mean, if it doesn't work, it's not that serious usually.
Then you do something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Anni.
Thanks.
And thank you for the listeners.